Hey guys, it's Solely with Kitchen Table Research, and I'm wearing my new hat and one of my favorite shirts that I got from Marfa, Texas. And if you don't know about the lights in Marfa and you guys want to know about them, I can give you a little story on the Marfa lights and show you guys some pictures from when we went and saw them. But they're kind of like mysterious, like gas lights or something that's natural in the environment down there where Big Bend meets the Mexican border. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are going to go back and start again with wrongful convictions, and we had been talking about the case of Timothy Donald out of Gary, Indiana, and in 1992 he was wrongfully convicted. And we left off on talking about police six-packs and eyewitness testimony and eyewitness identification. Okay, and so the way, we had kind of gotten into the way that police can be biased when they do these, what they call the six-packs or the mug shots. Why? Number one, witnesses can be allowed to view mugshots together. So say me and my friend saw something happen, they should separate us, because sometimes if your friend is like, oh yeah, well, I remember this, it might not be in my memory, but she says that, and all of a sudden it becomes a part of my memory. We've talked about this in some therapies that we've talked about, and we've talked about this in the Darley case too, that they did regression therapy. If you go look at the regression therapy and some of the biases that fall into that, there's actually a statistically likelihood that you can implant false memories. And we actually started talking about this when we were going to talk about the satanic panic, and I was going to cover the West Memphis 3 case. And if that's something you guys still want me to do, I'd be more than willing to do it, but that's a pretty deep and heavy case. So I want you guys to decide if that's something that you would like me to get into. All right, so number 1 was allowing witnesses to view mugshots together. Number 2 is pressuring witnesses into false identification, and I kind of talked about that in the last video. Number 3 is they sometimes will ignore other victim sightings or not use that information because it doesn't match the narrative that the witness A and then witness B says. If witness C's story doesn't match that, then sometimes the police won't even use their statement because it doesn't match the narrative. And for example, in this case, there's a woman named Rhonda who said that she did see the 5 armed robbers that day, and says that Timothy Donald was not one of these men, but her witness, her witness statement did not match the other information that the police had gathered on this case so far. And so, like I said, not only do we have Rhonda the witness, but we know that Tim was alibied out at work through witnesses at work and through CCTV footage. And there was also videotape evidence and CCTV footage of him being at the car dealership that night with his family to buy a car. However, the police told the dealership to go ahead and erase that CCTV footage, because if there's no evidence, it's like if the evidence doesn't exist. And so, not only did they erase that CCTV footage from the dealership, but they then go on to tell Rhonda that her witness testimony is not true, and they kind of like gaslight, so a wrongful conviction can cause a lot of really negative backlash, because this is ruining people's lives. Like, they're telling one. So now you have, like with this Rhonda witness, like you have her feeling like her statement could have put an innocent man behind bars. You are letting the 5 men that were actually a part of this robbed armory ring to continue to go on and commit crimes. And then, of course, the fallout to the Donald family and basically them taking Donald as a victim with them when police do wrongful convictions. Like I said, it's not just the person and their family that it hurts. It hurts other witnesses. It hurts other cases. It causes there to be more room for further crime in the future. So in 2016, or around that time, during Donald's exoneration, Miss Nikki Jackson was teaching criminal law at one of the schools up in that area. And she had her students, I think they were out of undergrad, and so they were working on master's programs and stuff. They were doing case studies on wrongful convictions, and her class found Mr. Donald's case, and they decided to open it up and see, kind of look at it if they thought it was a wrongful conviction. And like they said, when they got into the story and the erased CCTV footage and how they profiled Mr. Donald, the students brought this case to their professor, Professor Nikki Jackson, and she went forward with it and took it to I believe, the Innocence Project, or another project that helps deal with wrongful convictions for the state of Indiana. Okay, so I'm sorry, the students that were working under phone call. Okay, so the students started their work in 2006 and presented it to Nikki Jackson and what they had found. And so by 2016, Timothy Donald was exonerated from the state of Indiana. They went back through and tracked down some of these witnesses who had since retracted statements. And something that a lot of these police do is, and we'll kind of wrap this up, and then give you guys some other case examples than just the Donald case. But we've also looked at the Michael Morton case, the Melissa Lucio. You guys already know how we feel about Darlie Routier. And so the prosecution told Mr. Donald, well, if you just admit to doing the armed robbery, then we'll let you off on the, unaliving charge. And this is one way for the police to just try and save face, is to say, well, we were right about this part of it, but maybe we just got this part wrong. You get what I mean? So that's something that we find very common. So let's just go over some of the most common factors that lead to a wrongful conviction. Eyewitness statements, we've already talked about that. Being called jailhouse snitches, and getting time off or trading prosecutions due to, if they are to state somebody, and this happened in the Carrie Max Cook case, framing, tampering with evidence, or conceal or fabricate evidence. And we talked about how the media plays into that. Threats made to witnesses, intimidation tactics. Prosecutors have too much power. We kind of talked about that in the last one. The media, withholding information, which would be called exculpatory information, to do double blind studies when they do eyewitness testimony, to be cautionary, don't get tunnel vision or exhaust all leads, to fill the 6-packs with fillers that don't look like or as similar to the eyewitness. that defenses can be inadequate and